I played a lot of card games. Started playing competitive Magic at like age 14. Didn't do super great. Like this isn't some sort of like underdog story or anything like that. I've just been playing poorly at a competitive level, but I've been playing at a competitive level, just not super greatly, for a very long time. Not just with Magic, but with games like Hearthstone. I did a lot of free-to-play tournaments and even a few pay-to-play tournaments. Didn't place well. I mean, I'm really average at card games. I'm average at most games. I have a full-time job. I can't afford to just stream a game, as my job. I can't afford to play games as my job because, like, I mean, I'm not that great at it. So that being said, like, anything that's kind of my approach to my channel. It's low efforts, low quality content in terms of competitive value. Anything that I can do, you can definitely do better. So going from there, like what I want to show you is what Elder Scrolls Legends brings to the table. That a game that I've spent so much time playing, spent hours upon hours, hundreds and hundreds of hours playing Hearthstone, right? I've played so many hours of this game. What does Elder Scrolls Legends bring to the table that Hearthstone absolutely does not? And that is I want to say complexity, like the depth of card design that I was used to seeing with Magic the Gathering, and that I had totally taken for granted the fact that it just didn't exist in a game like Hearthstone. And now, like, I'm starting to see, like, holy crap, like, this is possible even with a game that is supposed to be, easy to play, easy to read, as far as the board state, and still be complex, deep, and interactive. Hearthstone passes up on so many opportunities for interaction, whether it's like deck interaction, hand interaction, all in favor of keeping things too simple and too related to RNG. And you're going to hear that a lot from the subreddit right now, based on everything that's going on in the game. So what's happening with Hearthstone right now? Basically, what happened is one of the 9 classes in the game. This game is supposed to have 9 viable classes, all of which you can play and enjoy, like, to your leisure. One of those classes, Priest, had been nerfed. It's essentially for us Magic players, or if you're an ESL player, that's like if they nerfed one of the colors to the ground to where you couldn't even play. Like, it was not even viable, it wasn't an option. And I don't think it was an intentional nerf. Kriparian brings this up in his video a couple times. It's not like they intended Priest to be bad. They just intended it to be as a counter to a control meta. So it's supposed to be strong against control decks. But the problem is that they never foster a healthy environment to where control decks are really super viable. It's everything is like rush, aggro your opponent down. Like, it's all about efficiency. It's all about tempo. And already I can tell that Elder Scrolls Legends is offering you more options. They're not just making aggro not viable. Like, that's one thing I want to stress, is that it doesn't seem like aggro is just not an option here, but it seems like other decks are an option. It seems like you're allowed to wait and bide your time due to some of the systems here. But we're not even here to really talk about all the different components of the game quite yet. What I want to do is really just get excited about this game, and I want to sit up here on my what do you call that? Not a pedestal, but it's like I want to sit here on my soapbox. Yeah, I want to sit here on my soapbox and like preach about why Hearthstone has turned to shit, and why I think Elder Scrolls Legends is the new game. Why I hope and it's raining right now. You can hear my sunroof. Why I hope it's the new game that everybody is eventually going to jump ship to, or not necessarily jump ship, but like at least consider as an alternative to Hearthstone. Because honestly, the games aren't that different. However, the designers have a much stronger direction in Elder Scrolls Legend, and they also have, I think they have a little bit more creative freedom, is what it seems like to me. I mean, your deck, okay, even the players get more creative freedom. In Hearthstone, you're confined to a 30-card deck, whereas in Elder Scrolls Legends, you are allowed to have anywhere between 50 and 70 cards. So you can choose like how consistent you want your own deck to be. You can choose how big you want it to be. Not only that, a lot of the legends aren't one of only. They're not unique only, as in like you can only have one legend per deck in Hearthstone. Here you can have up to 3 in many cases. that's a good and a bad thing, due to obviously the crafting system. But I mean, they got to make their buck. But I have this post up here, so because I wanted to discuss, like, first of all, some similarly inclined feedback. Oh, this is perfect. Like, I'm making some bold, sweeping statements, and we have some thunder in the background to really back me up here. This is great. So, this guy, he goes by the tag Chimera in card games. He contends that he's been the top of the ladder of Mojang Scrolls, top of Hearthstone's ladder, and he's actually a designer. He's been a designer for the game Faria, which I haven't actually seen anything about. I haven't really looked into that one, but I have heard about it. But I think he makes a lot of really good points about the game Elder Scrolls Legends, and he makes a compelling argument as to why you should consider at least trying it out. Really, his big three here are the UI, the progression system, and the balance. So a lot of people are already not fans of the UI. So let's take a look at this. It is a little bit clunky. I kind of have to agree here. So it's definitely not ugly, but let's see. If you go to play, this is one thing that I actually have a problem with. The biggest element of this play screen is the story, right? And most people you're going to play the story once, and that's it's like probably going to be pretty much it. So then for the rest of the time you're playing Elder Scrolls Legends, your little versus battle here is kind of off to the side, which is, like, I think it's somewhat nitpicky to say that, but it's also pretty valid. Like, I mean, if most people are going to come here for the versus battle, which I know as a competitively inclined, albeit terrible player, I'm going to be playing a lot of versus battle. And then, the rest, I think the arena versus arena is definitely the right size. So, maybe consider putting the versus battle in the middle. Other than that, like, it's pretty smooth. Like, I like the way it looks. If you think about it, Hearthstone also has a very like minimalist interface. It's got 4 buttons, 4 or 5 buttons on the main screen, and it's really not too much different than this. I'd say this is less friendly for mobile players. So they are going to expand to mobile at some point, and the interface is going to need to change a little bit. So other than the play screen, you've got your collection, you've got your store where you can buy packs and tickets. So take a look at that. Yeah, I mean, you could buy stuff here. You can buy arena tickets. That's, again, it's pretty intuitive. I don't really have a lot of... Currently, I'm not too nitpicky about the interface. Yeah, it's kind of nice to get like a little match history here. Now, one big thing that's missing from the game right now, and I will totally cop out on this one because it is a beta, but one thing that's missing is a spectator mode. Personally, I don't think I use the spectator mode in Hearthstone all that much as it was. Other than getting that one free pack quest where you spectate a friend and you just get a free pack, I didn't really find myself using it all that much. So yeah, that's not really too big of a deal to me. But yeah, I can see them at some point needing to add that. There's a little bit of functionality that's missing, but keep in mind it took Blizzard's, I think it took Blizzard a year and a half to add deck slots. Alright? So why don't we just keep an eye on the rate at which this game's technology progresses and compare and contrast. Alright? So we're still in the beta phase. This game started the open beta about 10 days ago. I think the game is fully functional. That being said, I know they've already said they're not going to do any more wipes. So yes, the cards that you get now, the cards that you earn, are going to be your cards. And I think that's about it. So for UI, Chimera contends that make it clearer early on what the portraits do for level up rewards. I don't even understand what that means. So obviously that's something that should probably be addressed, at least to some extent. There's a thing called prophecy cards that we can get into later, but he's just saying that I think he thinks that it's a little bit too fast-paced. So these are very minor quality of life fixes that could that I could possibly see warrant fixing. Progression. So this is what's really exciting to me, especially like as a guy who finds a free to play model super compelling. Granted, I did just spend quite a bit of money getting packs for the game, but he says that it's like super generous. He's coming from Hearthstone. He's saying that this is one of the most generous free to play games he's ever played. You get 2 free legendaries just for leveling up, high gold cap every day, you get progression rewards, tons of free epics, rares, and commons, what have you. I think the biggest consideration there for me is not just how quickly you can get legendaries, but it's also how many cards are viable. Like I guess what's the minimum dust cost, or whatever the crafting currency is in this game, but what's the minimum cost for a competitively viable deck? The equivalent in Hearthstone would be something like Zulok or Face Hunter, which, I mean, Face Hunter isn't viable anymore, but prior to Old Gods, that was like one of the go-tos. And then balance. This guy, Chimera, again, is his name. He contends that the balance of the game is superb. A lot of people I see on the subreddit are actually kind of bummed about the lack of diversity in ranked play. So that's something that I'll definitely explore. If there's an issue with that would absolutely be a weakness, going against the game's favor. The way I'm going to play, if the Archer deck is as prolific as everybody's saying it is, my natural tendency is just to do whatever I can to break that deck, or to play something that at least goes against the grain, so to speak. I think starting off this early, 10 days into the open beta, with a somewhat boosted collection, I think I'm going to actually be okay with theorycraft in a bit and just kind of homebrewing some of my own decks. I don't think I'm going to be an innovator though. So we'll see how it goes. So yeah, I think that's pretty much all the big things that I wanted to touch on as far as Elder Scrolls versus Hearthstone. Just looking at the subreddit, I mean, I know this is kind of like janky, like just going on stream and browsing the Elder Scrolls subreddit, but I mean, it's always a good like climate comparison of how players feel, and in general, it's just a good place to read about a game. One of my favorite threads, I mean, it's at the top of the front page right now, is just that they need to start promoting the game a little bit better, especially due to how unhappy people are with the newest Hearthstone expansion. And then again, the top comment here is that the clunky menus need to get polished. So we'll see. I mean, we'll see how it goes. I so far do not have a problem with the interface, but again, I don't have a wealth of experience with the game yet, and I think I'm gonna adjust this just a tad. Whoa. All right. All right. So, I think we're going to get into the packs now. My goal for tonight is just to open these packs and kind of, this is like a hype moment for me. This is not really so much a let's start playing competitive Elder Scrolls Legends. This is like a let's get excited about opening card packs. Because the way I always felt about it in Hearthstone, with the way the card collection is in that game, I always felt like there just weren't a lot of cards. There weren't a lot of viable cards, and when you're opening packs, you're just kind of like hoping to see like the 1 or 2 cards that you really, really want, and the rest of it, like, it's just a largely disappointing experience because of that. Like 90% of the cards that they release are completely non-viable, and I'm hoping that as we open these packs and discover these cards, that we can actually get excited about some of them. And I want to discuss not just the legendaries and the rares, but I want to discuss some of the mechanics that we start seeing, and like, oh wow, like ooh and ah, that type of thing. So, as a precursor to any pack opening session, you do need to know at least like what cards should excite you, right? Because I don't want to open a pack and be like, oh, that's like seems shitty, and then like come to find out it's like, one of the best cards in the game, and I didn't even like get super pumped about it while I was, streaming this 60 pack opening video. So I put together a little handy dandy top tier legendaries list here, and I should probably I can't even honestly see my own like list. So I'm gonna open up my cheat sheet real quick. All right, and yes, I do use PowerPoint to make like all of my overlays and crap like that because I'm super high speed. And yeah, let's go ahead and like get started here. Pack numero uno. Oh yeah, we get to like drag it every. Boom. I'm gonna be so happy to find out that the rain has completely drowned out my voice on this thing. That's gonna be exciting. Lesser Ward, give a creature wards. So that's like the Divine Shield of this game. Zero cost spell. I'd say this is possibly strong in a combo deck with a lot of spell interaction. Charge and lethal. So that's basically 4 mana to kill a creature. Like that's a pretty strong removal card. Comparable to Assassinate for Rogue in Hearthstone. And the mana values here are directly translatable to Hearthstone mana values. Although we'll see like how valuable like mana gain and stuff like that actually is. So that was our rare for the pack, by the way, Territorial Viper. The card glows, same thing as Hearthstone. I don't know if they glow right off the thing. Okay. So Resolute Ally, you give other friendly creatures in this lane +1/+1 if the top card of your deck is a what does it say, endurance card? I don't really know what the types are yet. So let's see, willpower, intellect. Is it intellect? Intelligence. Yeah, willpower, intelligence, skill, or something like that. Prophecy, summon, shackle an enemy creature. So that's really cool. I could see this being a very strong anti-aggro tool, actually. The way it works is that when you get hit for a 5 damage earmark, so if you go from, let's say, 26 life to 24 life when somebody attacks you, and you draw this card, what it is it causes you to draw a card with the rune. If you get Shrieking Harpy, you can shackle an enemy creature, which causes them to miss the next attack. You can play that instantly and for free on your opponent's turn. That's pretty cool. And Execute, good old Execute. Similar to the Warrior card, a little bit less similar. Destroy an enemy creature with power 2 or less. Oh, that's interesting. So the glows show up right as we... oh, never mind. So if you hold over it, it like glows. Okay, so that's our rare. We're only going to get one rare. Draw 2 1/1 Nord Firebrands with charge. Excellent. They're actually going to be 0 cost creatures, too. That is a really neat card, actually. I like it. Dwarven Spider, it's got Taunt, aka guard, right? Riyadh Horseman has +3/+0 breakthrough while equipped with an item. Interesting. So, equipment in this game, I kind of like the concept. It's similar to your... Oh, nice. That's a golden, actually. Cool. So equipment is similar to your enchantments in Hearthstone, but the great thing is that they can actually be neutral. So I don't know if you have neutral spells. I think you do. But you at least have neutral equipment, which is nice. So you can gain 2 health on a prophecy with that one. Summon to give a creature +2/+0, not too huge. Summon to give a creature +2/+1. It's interesting. So we see a lot of summon to give a creature this effect in this game. Like so far, we're seeing a lot of these cards, creatures that come with additional stats. And what's interesting about these also is that these stats can actually get tacked onto the same creature. So your 2/1 here, if it's the only card you got in your hand, can turn itself into a 4/2. So not something you want to write off immediately. It's good. Alright, so we got the Dress Renegade. Other friendly creatures cannot be shackled. It's not terrible. Got a 3/5 body there. It's decent, I guess. Stone Throw. Destroy an enemy creature if you have a creature with higher power. That's conditional removal for 3. It's not terrible. Hist Speaker. While your Hist Speaker is in play, your max Magicka is increased by 1. So that's we already have that card in Hearthstone. I think it actually costs the same too, but this is a 2/2. So we got 2 rares and an epic on this one. Mountain Tyrant, 6/6 with guard. That's pretty decent. When you summon another creature, another ranged creature, Murkwater Savage gains +1/+1. I think this is an aggro card. That seems like an aggro card to me. I think we're gonna see a lot of these types of cards, where they pump themselves up over time with the more creatures you play. So when you play an action, a random friendly creature gets +1/+1. Possibly decent in a burn or control type setting. That's endurance. So, not bad. So, I'm kind of disappointed that the golden cards aren't as cool looking. But, that's all good. Summon, draw random Atronach. That's cool. Last Gasp. So that's like a death rattle there. So, draw random action. So I wonder if that pulls from I'm sure that pulls from another pool other than your deck. So just like in Hearthstone where you get a random card in your hand. Yeah, I'm sure that's what happens. But I could be wrong. Like I wouldn't think that you could give your own creature, a plus stats with its battle cry. So that's also new and interesting. So. Yeah, nothing game-changing here. I think the Prophecy with Guard is actually pretty cool. So, and that's a common, so we could see some relevance there. We have another Territorial Viper, which means we might start leaning towards a green... based on this pack alone, we could be leaning towards green-blue as our colors. And, yeah, worth noting that you can make 2-color decks. Actually, it's encouraged. Every deck you make is going to be 2 colors. So we're going to look at, like, which 2 colors we're starting to pull the most viable cards from. Friendly orcs have +0/+2, a tribal boost. That's interesting. It's not super interesting though, but it's there. Elixir of Conflict. Already, that's okay. One of my favorite things so far is that there are permanents in this game. Permanent, as in cards that stay on the board that are not creatures. That does not exist in Hearthstone. Hearthstone's been out for 2 years, and the developers only trust us with creatures. That's the only permanent we can have on the board. Elder Scrolls Legends is in beta, and they're already giving us enough credit to play things like Elixir of Conflict. Or, I don't know, when you go second, you actually get an elixir that gives you 1 magicka, or 1 mana, 3 times. So this one gives a creature +1/+1. You can use it once per turn for free. That's pretty good. I like it. So that's exactly the type of discussion I wanted to have. That was like really find the mechanics that are like missing from Hearthstone after 2 years of development. Granted, they did some really cool innovation with Whispers of the Old Gods, but I don't think it was enough. It's too little, too late, in my opinion. And then Karazhan was just like the straw that broke the horse's back. I'm gonna bitch about Hearthstone for a while, so I'm sorry if it bothers you, but it just so much time wasted. All right. Summon to reveal a top card of the opponent's deck. We've never seen that in Hearthstone. We don't look at the top cards of our opponent's deck. We don't look at our opponent's cards, period. I don't know how much tactical value this one is, though. But it'd be cool to see more deck manipulation, more spying mechanics. Especially if it's viable. Like, what if you need to know, hey, I need to know what's on my opponent's deck, like what he's going to draw next. Hey, another golden here. The animations, again, are not that, like, pronounced. So, shame on you, guys. You can kind of see, like, a little dust drifting in the background. Looks like some Unity, little effects there, but whatever. Ficted Alit. Deals 2 damage to each player when you summon it. Obvious aggro card. Looks pretty excellent to me. I think we've seen the rest of these. When you play an action, deal 2 damage to your opponent again. That's pretty cool, I guess, if you're playing a burn deck. So we have When a friendly creature is destroyed, gain 1 health. This is a permanent that just stays in play. You play it, and it lasts the rest of the game until your opponent says, I want to destroy a support card. Similar to an artifact in Magic. I think that this kind of occupies the niche, the same exact niche in Magic the Gathering, for those who are familiar with artifacts and enchantments. I haven't seen anything that stays in play that acts contrary to an artifact or enchantment. Or I guess that would mean like distinguish. It makes that distinction. Whereas in Magic, there's different conditions, different removal for each one of those tribes. This one's probably just going to have the support card category. So, Lurking Mummy Prophecy Guard, 2/6. Getting that on a rune bust would be crazy. So you're playing a 5 mana card for free, essentially, on your opponent's turn. That would be kind of game-changing. So that's, as a common, it seems underwhelming, but that's actually pretty crazy. So, draw a card if an enemy rune has been destroyed this game. That's pretty cool. Does that allow you to overcome some of that? Maybe this is another aggro-oriented card. Allows you to overcome some of that advantage that your opponent gains from getting actually behind in health. Arrow in the knee. Oh, they're embracing the memes. That's awesome. I love it. All right. Yo. Milo. He's not going to finish it. Alright. Loyal Housecarl. Summon. So, Prophecy with Summon, give a creature +2/+2 and guard. So, this is a 5-drop. Very. It seems super flexible. This could be. I could easily see this being like a high tier card. It's. Now, the 2/6 actually comes packed with more stats than this one, but I think this one offers a little bit more flexibility because you get to spread it over 2 different creatures. So, could be decent. 2/4 with Prophecy Guard, 3 cost. I think the higher the cost of the card, the more valuable the Prophecy effect is going to be. Deal 3 damage and gain 3 health, as another example. This is another Prophecy card. Cost 6 normally. Could remove something small, but as a Prophecy card, you get your rune busted, and then you get to answer back by going back above. That's pretty cool. And the Tree Minder, this is just straight up gain 1 Magicka. It's a very simple ramp card. So yeah, maybe see more of that. Let's bust through these. Prophecy and Guard again. We're seeing a lot of this, so I think this is a very common trend. I think you're going to see people packing. I haven't really looked at too many high-level discussions of deck strategies, but one thing I have seen mentioned is how many Prophecy cards do you stack in your deck? A lot of people are like, well, I play Control, so I put in 10. So maybe this is why. Maybe a lot of them just come with those guard effects because the game is intended to be played that way. If the developers really didn't want you to stall, they wouldn't have put a bunch of Prophecy cards that also have guard effect with them. So it's nice. That's pretty cool. If you have more health than your opponent, summon a copy of Golden Saint in the other lane. Very conditional. I think this is a terrible card. Because it costs 6 and it relies on you having more health than your opponent. 6 cost card means you're probably playing a slower game than your opponent, so I don't see it being too useful. Enchanted Plate, 0/0/3, and you draw a card for 2. I like it. I do like it. It's pretty cool. Intimidate, probably useful. Enemy creatures lose guard, not really too excited about that. When you summon a creature that costs 2 or less, summon a copy of that creature in the other lane. When you summon a creature that costs 2 or less, summon a copy of that creature in the other lane. So what could that be useful for? I guess let's keep an eye on it. Maybe if there's any... just as an example, I wouldn't really want to have... I guess the 0/5 with guard and regenerate would be decent, but, we'll see. When arching Venom Tongue attacks and destroys a creature, you gain +1 Magicka. That seems excellent. It does cost 4, so you're waiting until you have at least 5 mana. As player 1, you're going to have at least 5 mana before you go to 6 mana, so this is possibly a boost from 5 to 6. I don't think it's going to be a game-changing ramp, but it should be removal bait at the very least, so could be decent. And then Young Mammoth, Breakthrough's Trample here, right? So it's not bad. Stampeding Mammoth. +2/+0 for each other friendly creature with Breakthrough. So, a card like this, like I could see it being pretty difficult and non-optimal to be building your deck around the Breakthrough mechanic, but it's cool that they're giving us this option. This is more of a neat card than anything else. Guard with draw a card as a death rattle. Pretty cool. Oh, I like it. Draw random action as a death rattle. It's not bad. What's up, dog? Yeah.
Video.
What's that?
On that one.
Huh?
Are you doing that one? No?
Yeah. This one right here, right?
Yeah, it seems good, doesn't it?
No, it's not gonna see you. You can see my look. Here.
Oh.
My wife is very shy. Sorry, guys.
It just got rained on. It's flooding outside.
Is it flooding? Oh, that's awesome. I was just mentioning how excited I was that, you know, it's storming and thundering outside while I'm recording
It
this.
was like light. Like seriously, I couldn't even see on my way home.
That's crazy. So, Firebolt. Deal 2 damage to a creature. Yeah. Pretty standard. It's a great 1-cost card, I guess. Items cost 1 less here for Skilled Blacksmith. Pretty standard fare, I think, all of this, actually. If the top card of your deck is an action, draw it. Otherwise, put it on the bottom. So that's some more deck manipulation. We don't really see too much of that in Hearthstone at all. I think the Joust mechanic with the King's Alec is one of the only examples I can think of. And even that just kind of pulls the card out of your deck. You don't really know if it goes back on the bottom or the top or whatever. And in this deck, like the fact that we have any deck manipulation at all is statistically a huge deal, because now you can no longer say you have an equal chance to draw every card, because you know your deck is preset and you know you're putting cards on the bottom of your deck. So like that's, I mean, for people who really want to game the chances and game the percentages, that's a very significant. Prophecy destroy a creature. Oh my gosh, that's cool. I think I've seen a lot of those on the subreddit, so that makes sense now. Hey, a cool golden card. That's actually pretty neat. I like it. Summon it to deal 4 damage. So 8 mana 4/4, summon to deal 4 damage. Compare this to Hearthstone's 9 mana. I want to say 7/4. I think it's a 9 mana 7/4 that deals 4 damage. The Kraken. 5/1 with Ward. Nothing great here, actually. I'm not too happy about any of that. 6/3 with a Breakthrough. I've actually already got this one, but the game actually, it lets you choose between like a Hive Warrior and like a Hive Guard, and I chose the Guard because it was a 3/6 with Guard, which I think is better based on what I know about Hearthstone. Deal 2 damage to your opponent and draw a card. Interesting, just interesting. Honestly, I don't know if that's gonna be like if there's a burn path, that's definitely part of it. Give a creature +0/+1 for 2 with 3 uses. Strictly worse than the other elixir we pulled, I think. That was a 3 mana neutral. It was either neutral or it was an endurance card. So. Draw +1/+0 Steel Dagger. That is way cool. So that's an item. I think what's exciting about this is more the implications of you have a 1-cost card that puts another 1-cost card in your hand. So it gives you flexibility, possible interactivity with other cards in your hand. That's a non-gold version of the Shocking Lamasu. Lowland Troll, and Torval Crook. Charge, and you pilfer to gain 2 magic. Oh, whoa. That's super cool. So you get at least 6 mana on the turn that you play this. So, I mean, it's a 1/4 for 4, but it regains its cost right off the bat. And you should only play this on a board that you know you can attack your opponent immediately. So, that's pretty good. Give a creature ward when you summon this. I like it. 2/1. I mean, it's we see this card already. The Argent Defender or whatever like that. It's already in Hearthstone, but it's pretty good. Nothing too crazy here. Okay, I take that back immediately. Deal 2 damage to all creatures in 1 lane. If that's not the anti-aggro, I don't know what is. That's awesome. So, I mean, a card like that might force your opponent just to play a certain way in case you have it. Summon. If you have more health than all your opponent, give all friendly creatures a random keyword. And it only costs 4, so it's not entirely, unplausible that you'd have more health than your opponent. That's pretty cool. So something I'm noticing quite a bit, along with all these cards that have the activating condition, if you have more health than your opponent, we're seeing a lot of deal X damage to your opponent, gain X health. It's interesting, because I never really noticed that correlation until now, and I'm starting to see why it exists. There are a lot of cards that want to increase the health disparity or decrease the health disparity between you and your opponent. So that's just an interesting realization. Oh snap, guys! We're going to get our first legendary. I'm excited. I'm super stoked right now. So we opened 22 packs to get our first legendary. And then let's take a look at our legendary tiers here. So these are the way that the post was worded. The dude listed all the legendaries in the game, assigned them tiers based on whether they're insane, really good, decent, or bad. I only took the ones that were rated as insane and put them on this top tier legendaries list. These are based on somebody else's judgments entirely, not my own, so let's find out what we got. Oh my goodness, we got immediately one of the best legendaries in the game, Odaving. That's really exciting. So, and it's unique, so we already knocked that out. This is a neutral unique card that can easily make its way into any of our decks. I think we win. That's freaking sweet. I'm really stoked about that. So 10/10, deal 4 damage to each enemy creature. The curious thing is that you have to figure out a way to get to 12 mana to be able to do this. So I don't know how you're going to do that. But if you can, I mean, you get to play this giant-ass dragon, which is super, super cool. Man, I'm stoked for that. I don't know, that's really cool. I don't think it's golden. I think that's just kind of some sparks. So that's awesome. Prophecy, summon a 2/2 trooper with guard in each lane. Oh, very cool. Very cool. So that's just 2 creatures for 4. Or it's 2 creatures for free. Master of Thieves. Friendly creatures with Pilfer can attack an additional time each turn. Wow. So imagine playing Master of Thieves with that other 4-drop we have that gives you 2 Magicka every time it attacks. I mean, that's instant combo right there. And we have another Pilfer here. Lightning Strike here in a second, by the way. So that's the first time you summon a creature each turn. Equip it with a random item. Oh my goodness. That's crazy. And that's an ongoing card. That's a support card. So that stays on the board. That's one of our little permanents that Bethesda is trusting us with. Let's not disappoint them by being overwhelmed with complexity, because we are just stupid players. Summon +1/+1. Oh, you summon and you get +1/+1 for each creature in your discard pile. Boom! Oh my gosh! Another... Okay, this is crazy. Because we're counting things in our discard pile. What's a discard pile, first of all? And second of all, what happens to cards after they disappear from the game? So that's like... I just wanted to, call that out. Again, that's another mechanic that does not exist in Hearthstone. That really should. Alright? Because it yes, it requires us to know something else about the game, but it also adds another level of complexity to this game that I really want to enjoy. So that's great. I should really just like make a compilation of like all the things that we're seeing in this game that we have never seen in Hearthstone. Drain. So when this deals damage on your turn, you gain that much health. I don't think that exists in Hearthstone. I think there's like one or two. There might be one or two priest cards. 4/2 guard. Last gasp. Summon a 2/1 with guard. That's pretty cool actually. I like it. So it's a 4/2 that turns into a 2/1. Both of them have guard. It's kind of a stalling. I would say it's a stalling card, but its stats are like really too aggressive to be a good guard card. So +1/+1 if you have an action in your hand. Interesting. In a traditional card game, you'd have to reveal that card. I don't know. I don't think this game is going to make you do that. That's one of the benefits to the digital format. Although I think I'm a purist in that respect, so I don't like that actually, which is totally an emotional response, not rational at all. So feel free to disregard. When you summon another creature, give a +2, +0/+2. Decent. Damage to a creature again. So this is an item, but it's not an action, it's an item. So I guess is it an equip? I don't understand. Oh, dang it. That's why I can't be trusted. Just a dumb guy. No, I really don't understand. So yeah, items are equips. Yeah, okay, cool. Problem solved. You know, earlier I did claim that there are neutral items. I don't know that I've seen one, so let's keep an eye out for that. Shackle a creature. If you have 4 or more endurance creatures, destroy it instead. I don't really like that card particularly. Could be niche. Could be actually. I mean, I could see it being decent. I don't want to disregard it just yet. If we have some endurance like rush decks, that could actually be like crazy. So we'll see. Let's look at all the commons. Guard, 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 guard. Decent, I guess. Black Worm Necromancer. If you have more health than your opponent, summon a random creature from your discard pile. That's pretty cool. I mean, it's again, that's a resurrect effect. We see that in Hearthstone. I mean, it's cool that you can look at your discard pile during the game. Shuffle all your cards in your hand with Prophecy in your deck and draw that many cards. That is super, super cool. I want to say I'm more amazed by the proof of concept of this card and less. I mean, I don't think it's a particularly powerful card at all. I don't think I'm going to be using it a lot. I just like the fact that it exists. It's a neat card. We're about halfway through our packs here, so we got one legendary so far. Halfway through. Another shiny card here. It's pretty cool. If there's a wounded enemy creature in this lane, give it charge. I want to say that's probably another aggro tool. Admiral in the knee. Again, it's awesome. Another shiny. Draw a firebolt at the top. The top card of your deck is an intelligence card. Draw a firebolt. So that's cool. You don't even draw a card. You just get a free card. That's great. If you have more health than your opponent, draw 2 cards. Don't like it. I just don't like it. I don't know if I'm going to warm up to these if you have more health than your opponent cards. I especially pay attention to the magicka cost of those cards when they come up, and I think that's one of the things that bothers me about them. If it costs a lot, I don't want to bet on my health total yet, you know. And essentially putting that in your deck is like betting before the game even begins that you're going to have more health than your opponent throughout the game, right? So, not a fan of it. Prophecy, summon, gain 2 health. I'm not seeing anything huge here. Move a friendly creature and draw a card. So you can move his lane and you draw a card. Some flexibility for free, I guess, essentially. It's one mana, so. Now that I think about it, I mean, I think that 1 mana card could probably see some play. Steal all items from an enemy creature. That's freaking pretty evil. I like it. Hey, we have our neutral item here. So this is just a dreg shell armor. Um, a neutral +3/+3. Not much to say about it. I guess the big thing is that every deck is afforded the option to just get this +3/+3 item. It's not a creature, but yet it's neutral. I'm really excited about that. That's the end of the story. Imperial armor. It looks cool. Prophecy was summoned to move another creature. That's pretty cool. That could be cool. We'll see. Bone bow summoned to silence another creature. Ha! Another golden card. Give a creature +1/+1. Cool, cool. Suppress. Silence a creature. Oh my goodness, we have this exact card in Hearthstone already. And it's terrible in both games, I'm sure. Regenerate and +1/+3. Decent. I think there is enough ways to get around regenerate that it's not entirely super overwhelmingly powerful. But it could be cool. Another Shadow Shift. This time it's actually golden. Again, I'm used to, okay, one thing I do like about Hearthstone is the golden cards. They're really pretty, they're really shiny. They're very animated. So, I will give them that over this one. See, is this a gold card? I think this is a gold card. It's got no animation. Literally not a single thing is moving in this card, but it's gold. Because you can see, the little trim here, right? No, it's not. It's not gold, it's just rare. So what am I talking about? Oh, wait. Okay, these are both rares. Same color. Yeah, and that one's gold. So, shame on you, guys. Shame on you, Bethesda. This is crap. Ooh. Oh, another legendary, guys. Let's get stoked. Let's get hyped. Come on. Come on. Give us another top tier legendary. Elena Binoc. I don't think that was in our thing. No. But it says, it's a 1/1 for 6, so it's really good. Honestly, it's not terrible. So the way this works is... Oh, it is a unique card, so I like that. So I don't have to worry about ever collecting any of these, ever again, which is great. But the way this works is it has lethal, and lethal works similar to the way, I want to assume that works similar to the way Death Touch works in Magic. So when you play this card, it's going to deal 1 damage to an enemy creature, and because it has the lethal ability, it's going to automatically kill that creature. I have to assume that because there's no other reason that this should cost 6. I do like the card. It's pretty cool. I don't think it's overwhelmingly powerful, but I don't think it's underwhelmingly terrible either. So... Alright, so not too much craziness here. Destroy a wounded enemy creature, so that's like execute in a nutshell from Hearthstone. 0/9 with Prophecy and Guard. All it does is stall, it doesn't really have an impact on the whole total. It's basically like Prophecy, if you're lucky, you're going to draw this and you're going to get 9 health for free. Not a huge fan. So, Prophecy and gain 5 health. Healing Potion I can actually see possibly being somewhat useful. That's a very remote possibility. But say you have a deck who's based on taking tons of damage early to get those Prophecy draws, or get those runes to break, you're going to need cards like that Healing Potion to bring you back up to within living range. Another golden shocking Wamasu. So we're about to make a shocking Wamasu deck. That's what I'll tell you right now. It's going to be a thing. Summon to give a creature lethal. Summon to move another friendly creature. I think we've seen most of these already, so nothing really interesting to say about any of them. Yeah, once again, nothing too crazy. we're just kind of blowing through these here at the end. I got 2 legendaries. I'm excited. I'm happy about that. And I mean, opening 60 packs. That's, I mean, we got 13 more. But that's about what you should expect, I'd say. I'm definitely looking forward to just doing the quests and going generally free to play from here on out, unless I decide I want to collect the gold, entire gold collection, which I don't really see happening if the aesthetics stay the same. When a creature in this lane is destroyed, Grim Champion gains +1/+1. So if you have a stacked lane, or they have a stacked lane, and you somehow manage to wipe a bunch of them out after you play this, that could be crazy. I don't know if this is a staple, but it's nice to see cards that are allowed to accumulate +1/+1 tokens. I think I kind of mentioned that earlier. We're seeing a lot of pump cards. Probably seeing them in aggro quite a bit. You don't see any of those in Hearthstone. To this day, there's no card that I can think of. Oh, somebody's going to correct me on this. I can already hear it. Like, I can already feel it. That just gains +1/+1 as the game, like, as it stays on the board, all right? We have the War Chief that you play it, and it gets +1/+1 for every creature you have. But there's nothing that just comes out and then, like, gains, oh, you know what? Questing Adventurer. Touche. Questing Adventurer gains a counter every time you play a card. All right. Thank God I proved myself wrong there, so I could save at least a little bit of face and not look like an ass. But, that's all right. Charge. 4/4 charge. It's not bad. Whatevs. Crushing Blow. Deal 3 damage. That's a neutral action. That's really worth noting. Every deck in this game has the opportunity to play a card that allows you to just deal 3 damage from your hand. I think that's super, super important. It's not a creature, it's just straight up 3 damage. So we'll see how big of a deal that is. But I just think it's really important. That's a good signal to players. We are giving you options. We're not afraid to let you innovate. Do with it what you will, alright? Again, we have another neutral item. It's not terrible. That's pretty terrible, yeah. I think it's a 0 cost or +0/+0. Yeah. Mace of Encumbrance. That's pretty cool. That's a glass mace for those of you who are familiar with and enjoy the Elder Scrolls games. And it's beautiful. It's a beautiful thing. Oh my gosh. A prophecy that can proc another prophecy. That's a prophecy dream right there. Cost 6, prophecy, you summon it, draw a card. If it has prophecy, you play it for free. So that's just an possible overwhelming advantage. I think it'd be pretty tough to pull off. And we got another legendary, folks. Let's start the hype train right here. Let's open up our little thing. All right. Big money, no whammy. Yes! Yes! Limit 1 per deck, and it is one of the insane cards of the green slot. So this is a top tier legendary. Believe it or not. I don't know why. I can't tell you why. Because it's a secret. But it is. That's crazy. So we got some good cards. We got 2 top tier legendaries. And 1 at least decent legendary. And I think we can actually make a deck out of all of them together too. Because it's we got a green-red legendary. And we got another good green-red card here. I don't know if it's good. I mean, it's just a card. So that's actually pretty terrible. I mean, I don't know how many wounded enemy creatures are going to be in any lane on turn 8. If there are a bunch of them, then I want to say that I'm not doing a good job. Another Fate Weaver. I do like the Fate Weaver. I kind of like... It's a very gimmicky card. It's a very high-risk, high-reward card that I would love to see just pop up in the game and just want to see what happens, Plunder. Draw 2 random items. I really like that card, too. That's much similar to the Kabbalist's Tome, I want to say is the Hearthstone card. Just draw 3 random spells as a mage. Pulling from a random card pool is always better than pulling from your deck, he says. Completely oblivious to the implications. Okay, it's not obviously it's not always better, but I think it's generally a great idea, especially if you're in a protracted battle that might end up in one of you running out of cards. Got a Golden Fiery Imp. Again, there's not really too much... there's a little bit of an animation here, but it's more of a ripple effect placed on top of the texture. and it's not like the actual like flames coming out of the hands there, which is, you know, somewhat lame. Curse, give a creature -1/-1. This is another thing I wanted to mention that I missed from Hearthstone. As far as transitioning from Magic to Hearthstone, we don't see any give X creature -1/-1. We don't see that in Hearthstone anymore, like ever. And as simple and minor of a complaint as that sounds like, it's actually a pretty big deal because I mean, there's a whole lot that comes from giving something -1 attack along with that -1 defense, and it also gets around interesting things. Or in a way, it's interesting because it gets around things like Divine Shield, or in this case, Ward. So if you give your 1/1 that has Divine Shield -1/-1, it just dies. So it's kind of like a little counter in a way to that mechanic. Hero of Anvil costs 1 less for each creature summoned this turn. I really don't care about the card at all. That could be the best card in the game right there. Like that, this card could literally be the best card in the game, and I just would not care. That's very boring. But that's okay. Like, boring cards are necessary. I'm just saying. It's my personal opinion. Not hating on the game, not hating on the developers. Just throwing it out there. I'm very much I don't know, not a Timmy, but like a Johnny. Is it a Johnny? I don't even know, man. I love playing with interesting cards. Deal 2 damage to your opponent and draw a card. Okay. Cool. Oh, Elixir of the Defender. Activate to give creatures guard. Not super happy about that, really. I'm not really, yeah. It's just guard. And last pack. Got 3 rares. Cool. And the game is very kind to remind me that I have no packs and that the storefront is right here, you know? Just in case I forgot about that. So once again, draw a card if an enemy ruin has been destroyed this game. I just wanted to read that one more time because I really like it. I think that's a cool card. Cool, and cast out Prophecy. And so Prophecy, possibly you get to cast this for free. Return a creature to its owner's hand. Now, there's a card in Hearthstone called Sap. And it is exactly this card, obviously minus the Prophecy thing, but it's exactly this card, but it costs 2. And it's one of the most powerful cards in the game. Cast out is probably at a similar power level, with the caveat that I do not think that Elder Scrolls Legends is as focused or as, tempo, like it's not as focused on tempo, it's not as tempo-centric of a game as Hearthstone is. So the less important tempo is to your win condition, the less powerful cast out is going to be. So that said, my initial thought was that this is awesome. I'm really comfortable. I like seeing this card again in a new setting. To, you know what, let me slowly draw back a little bit. Maybe it's not as powerful as I initially thought. So yeah, it's important to note. So we now have a 235 card collection. That's exciting. We can look at what Soul Sight. Soul Trap all your extra cards for 445 dust, and you can look at all the unowned premium cards. Great. So if you want to create a legendary, it's going to cost 1,200 and not 1,600. So that's good. It's a 1-to-3 ratio instead of 1-to-4, I guess, as far as disenchanting goes. And yeah, I think that's about everything that I wanted to explore for this little play session / stream session. Literally all I wanted to do was open cards, talk about the mechanics, talk about my thoughts on the card design, and really, like, because this game is so similar to Hearthstone, I hope I didn't lose too many people just by comparing every single card to Hearthstone. But really, like, this game is Hearthstone in a different setting, right? So we have to compare really everything we see to Hearthstone to be able to gain that perspective on, you know, whether something's good, whether something has a healthy design or has a poor design. And obviously we touched on all these things on a very wave top level. All right, we didn't really go into depth on any one of these cards. We didn't really dive into, like, is this card good in a vacuum or not. And I think that's something that's only going to come with experience. So I hope you join me as we continue playing this game. I plan on homebrewing some decks here pretty soon that I look forward to testing in the battlegrounds on the stream. And yeah, with that said, have a great evening, and hopefully see you next time.